Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be speaking English, so you can wear your headphones. Today I'll be talking about the improving of the mycotoxins testing methods using the ISO 17034 certified reference materials. So our agenda today is to introduce Roma Labs products, for introduction for Roma Labs, and then on the ISO 17034 certified reference materials, why is it important to use it in your ISO 17025 certified labs. And we also talk a bit about the emerging mycotoxins, and also on the multi-mycotoxin testing solutions and the conclusion. So next, just a short introduction about Roma Labs. If you do not know about Roma Labs, actually we are founded in Washington in 1982. So we are part of now the Royal DSM Group. It's being acquired just 2 years ago. And in Singapore itself, we actually have the lab, which is an ISO 17025 lab. And our lab actually only tests mycotoxins, multi-mycotoxins, as well as the allergens. So it's specifically only on mycotoxins and allergens. And our it's actually to service especially nearer to the Asia Pacific customers. So for Roma Labs itself, we have accredited services, fully accredited service laboratories in Austria, in the United States, in United Kingdom, Austria, and also Singapore as well, in Wuxi, China. So in Roma Labs itself, we also manufacture products like mycotoxins, ELISA kits, mycotoxins, calibrants, and which is also one of them that we'll be going into detail, which is the ISO 17034 mycotoxins calibrants. And also we are doing on the kits as well for allergen products, as well as pathogens, as VDR, and also on the GMO and other contaminants. So in our Roma Labs, actually our product is on the calibrants, the brand is called BioPure. So we have the BioPure ISO 17034 certified reference material. So what exactly is ISO 17034 and what is actually the requirements? So the ISO 17034 2016 general requirements for the competence of the reference material producers. The requirements are that of course need to have skilled personnel and the environment, the documentation, the equipment that need to be certified, the quality control of the reference materials according to ISO 17025, the characterizations of the candidate materials, as well as the assignment of the reference value with the uncertainty on the certificate. So actually, who needs the ISO 17034 certified reference materials? Okay, the ISO 17034 certified materials actually make the audits. If you are going through an audit for an ISO 17025, it makes it much easier because the certificate is very detailed, so they are actually considered to be very competent certified reference materials. So this is the excerpt, as you can see from the ISO 17025 guidelines. The certified values of certified reference materials provided by a competent producer with stated methodological traceability is to the SI unit. So the reference materials producer fulfilling the requirements of the ISO 17034 are considered to be competent. So this is the excerpt from this. So it's very important. If you use the ISO 17034 certified reference materials, it will help you greatly if you are going through an accreditations in your ISO 17025 lab. So what's exactly the connection between the ISO 17034 and the ISO 17025? So the ISO 17034 is actually meant for the competence of reference materials producers. And the analytical methods that's used in ISO 2034, the characterizations, analysis, quality control, is accredited according to ISO 17025. And what exactly is, of course, ISO 7025 is, of course, related to the testing labs and is on the competence of the testing labs, and the testing methods are validated and verified. So, the certified reference materials that is produced under the ISO 17034 accreditation, what does it entail? So what is the details they have to go through before it's considered ISO 17034 accredited? So the purity of the raw material, it has to be assessed and tested by accredited QNMR method. So actually it can have a full information in terms of purity. And also, it has to be accompanied by the certificate analysis according to the ISO 17034 standard. And also according to the ISO standard, the material itself, the raw material, it has to go through a full and long and short-term stability data that is needed as well. And also it needs to be statistical evaluated, and also a full set of homogeneity data according to the ISO Guide 35 that's available, and it needs to be statistically evaluated. And also, all processes and calculations, it needs to be traceable in the production plan. So when we produce it, all the process and calculations need to be traceable in the certification document. And also, most importantly, the competence of the producer needs to be approved by the national accreditation body. So this is the BioPure ISO 17034 certified reference materials that is produced by Roma Labs. This is actually our manufacturing plant in Thun, Austria itself. So we have the common mycotoxins that's already certified reference materials, like the aflatoxin B1, B2, G1, G2, deoxyvaleninone, divalenone, T2, HT2, zearalenone, ochratoxins, fumonisin B1, B2. So all these are the common mycotoxins, calibrants, and they are certified as certified reference materials. So on the cert itself, the ISO 17034 certs, the certificates of the BioPure ISO 17034 certified reference materials, it actually provide the proof of traceability. It also, on the COA itself, has the stated uncertainty, the full transparency of the production process, the full transparency of the product characterization, and also on it, the certificate analysis is also homogeneity test and stability test that is accredited as well. So for our reference producer, I mean, we are actually based in Thun, Austria. Accreditation sign is only used on the ISO 17034 cert, and identification number is 0457. So for the ISO 17034 cert, you can see that the certificate is actually designed according with the ISO 17034 and also the ISO Guide 31. So this is actually on the cert itself, the product name, the reference material, of course the CAS, molecular weight, molecular formula, there is also the volume and the lot number, etc. And on the certified, the ISO 17034 cert, as you can see here, not only the concentration is stated, the certified, the expanded uncertainty value is also stated on the COA itself. So we can see that on the certificate, there's actually a certified value. There's also a stated uncertainty. Homogeneity test is also stated there. Stability test is also stated there. So it's actually determined according to the Eurochem guideline. Yeah. So on the cert itself, the method of preparations, the certificate value is also stated. And also the method of characterization, the purity especially, that's not found in other types of certificate, except for the ISO 1734 cert, the purity is also determined by the quantitative NMR. And also the method of identifications is identified by the HPLC, the MS, as well as the MMR. So you see here that there's actually a full transparency of the production process, as well as the full transparency of the product characterization. And most importantly, we can see that on the ISO 17034 cert, the traceability is also very important. You can see that the gravimetric method for the weighing balance is also needs to be tested, evaluated, accredited as well, to be used to produce the reference material. So there's also a proof of traceability and trueness that is stated on the COA itself. And of course, most importantly, like I mentioned earlier, we also have the accreditation sign that is stated on the certificate analysis. So that's why the certificate analysis is very detailed. So what are the benefits of our BioPure certified reference materials? Okay, the competence as the reference material producer is approved by the national accreditation body. Ours is based in Austria. And our ISO 17034 reference producers are considered to be competent when used in the scope of the ISO 17025. And of course, the certificate analysis is according to the ISO 17034. The purity of the raw materials is assessed by the accredited QMR method. And there's also a proof of traceability as well as trueness, a stated uncertainty, as well as the full transparency of the production process, how is it being processed, as well as the product characterization. The homogeneity is also tested, and the stability for long-term and short-term is also tested and stated on the COA itself. So after this is actually end of my ISO 17034 materials. So I'll be talking a bit on the emerging mycotoxins. As we know, we have the common mycotoxins of the aflatoxins, ochratoxins that we actually commonly tested. It's routinely tested. But we know that there's actually other types of mycotoxins that are available that is seldom tested and is actually not well studied. So these are the emerging mycotoxins that are already regulated in Europe itself. So you have to take note if you were to export any food materials to Europe, so like molybdenum, formin, bivouac, serine mycotoxins, tropin alkaloids, trichotoxins, and also most importantly, alterneurotoxins. Okay, alterneurotoxins is actually kind of new. Is going to be regulated soon. So you can see here that there's this upcoming EU regulations on the alterneurotoxins, and all these toxins, all this food, if you were to be shipping it, exporting it to Europe itself, you have to take note that all this is going to be regulated in the European Union soon. So there's the alteneuro, all the three toxins. That's the alteneuro, monomethyl ether, as well as the tenozonic acid as well. So for the BioPure calibrants and the standards for the emerging mycotoxins, so what we in Roma Labs, we provide actually the calibrant solutions for all these emerging mycotoxins, and also the internal standard as well, the C13 stable isotope label calibrants. We also have the solid standards as well as the ISO 17034 CRMs. So for the BioPure, for which is the diamond standard for the mycotoxin testings, we actually provide the internal standards that can be used for the LCMS-MS. We also have the solid standards as well as the QCM materials. Okay, 2 more minutes. So next we go into the short introduction on the multi-toxins analysis by the, other than the internal standards that's provided, we actually have the purification as well, which is the IAC column, the immunoaffinity column that can be used together with the internal standards and as well as the C13 and the calibrants to test using the LCMS-MS. So this is IAC solutions with the immunoaffinity solutions to meet. We actually can meet the extremely low target LQs. You can see here that after using the IAC solutions and using the internal standards, our results is kind of the LQ level for the ochratoxins in pepper is 4.5. For baby food, it can be tested as well using the IAC columns, and the LQ is also at a very low level, as well as for the baby food. And we also can use the multi-star IAC columns as well for the infant food. So actually, we are doing this test for the Singapore food agencies. So actually, we meet their LQ level of, for example, for aflatoxins is 0.05 ppb for LQ, and recovery is very good as well. So actually, we have done the test, especially for Singapore food agency, to test for the infant cereal in aflatoxin as well as ochratoxins. So for aroma labs, other than if you find it inconvenient to test on your own, you can send it to our analytical service lab. So our analytical service labs is fully accredited with ISO 17025, and we also GMP Plus certified as well. Yeah, so that's all. So in conclusion, the mycotoxin risk management is a continuous process that requires regular testing, analysis for optimum effectiveness, and the good reference materials, of course, like the ISO 17034 reference materials are important for ensuring accuracy in terms of mycotoxin testings. So all these, a combination of tools and expertise that we have is really available to you to educate you to manage the mycotoxin risk. So thank you very much.